One of the things I want to get into, right in my wheelhouse, you know I love college football. You know I love the recruiting. University of Oklahoma picked up 2 public announced commitments. One from a highly regarded 4-star running back from Mesquite Poteet. His name is Seth McGowan. Seth McGowan got a lot of burst, can get in between the holes. He's also an absolute monster. He's a house. He is a weight room junkie. This is a dude that competes with his head coach in lifting, and they be one-upping each other. And he's drawing comparisons to Saquon Barkley. Not because of the all-purpose aspects, not because anybody expects him to be an NFL Rookie of the Year, although he could be. It's because this dude is pulling 350 pounds from the floor. He's power cleaning 350. So whenever you want to tell me about how you have a kid at your local area high school who can play running back at Oklahoma, I'm going to remind you there's video of Seth McGowan pulling 350 pounds off the floor and catching it. All right? And the reason I'm comparing that guy to Saquon Barkley and other people is because the year before Saquon Barkley entered the NFL, he was pulling 405 off the ground and catching it. Seth McGowan is a senior-to-be. He starts his senior year of high school in August. That is the kind of cat that is being recruited to not just Oklahoma, but he had offers from Texas A&M, Georgia. He picked OU. It also puts him in the same backfield in this 2020 recruiting class as Jace McClellan, who is a 5-star tailback. And that dude is a monster as well for a bit of a different reason. They're both powerful. Like, as a tandem, this might be the most talented tandem in the 2020 recruiting cycle at running back, because Jace McClellan not only can hit you with the burst and can bruise your middle linebacker, he can also outrun you down the sidelines. This was one of the only underclassmen invited to the opening final last year in July, which is the premier national high school camp during the summer. It's down at the Star in Frisco, Texas. The best of the best come to compete against each other. It's usually dudes from that upcoming recruiting cycle. A couple of underclassmen earn invitations. One of them was a top defensive tackle, Brian Breeze, who's committed to Clemson. Another was Jace McClellan. And I'm like, cool. It's good for OU to have a commit at these events, especially the year behind this vaunted 2019 class. But I knew that Jace McClellan was legit. That's Jasee, Jace McClellan. When they had this linebacker drill where they put 2 middle linebackers 5 yards away from the tailback, and they told the tailback to take an angle. And, you know, basically you're trying to look at what the lateral quickness is of the linebackers. Do they take false steps? Are they decisive? Can they take a really good angle? And Jace McClellan outran 2 top linebacker recruits in the class ahead of him. He beat them to the cones. I'm going, all right, cool. That dude is next. So I had asked, is this class already with 2 of the better running backs in it, with this tandem, could they be as good as the Dudley boys? Because I know the easy thing is to say, hey, RJ, you remember we had these dudes named Joe Mixon and Samaj P. Ryan. Yes, I know. I do know. But this is sports, and it's sports talk radio, and I want to have more fun than saying, can these guys be as good as the two tailbacks 3-4 years ago? Because that's what Oklahoma is, and that's the kind of RBU that it has. It's an embarrassment of riches. And when you look at what's ahead of them and you look at what's being recruited behind them, you're going, is Oklahoma ever going to miss on another running back? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I actually was talking with my buddy Steve about this over lunch last week, and it was like, hey, he's been an OU fan since the 70s, right? Actually, the 80s. I'm dating you, Steve. That's my bad. But he's saying, look, you've basically had 20 years of good football. At Oklahoma, a bad season has become 8-5. So there is not just 1, but 2 generations of OU football fans who don't really know what it means to have a bad season. Because a bad season here of late for OU has been losing the national semifinal. And you got to go back to like 2011 when it was like, hey, man, we really going to lose 5 games in the season? Is that what it's going to be? Now, I know there's a lot of people that remember the Russell Athletic Bowl and, that Clemson team that has become a juggernaut first showed everybody that it's going to become a juggernaut by stomping on Oklahoma in the Russell Athletic Bowl. But the recruiting at running back has never fallen off. And that is remarkable. Because, yeah, in a class that is loaded with running backs, like this is historically deep class, top to bottom. We got dudes here locally who are outstanding running backs. Isaiah Jacobs out at Owasso, Savion Morrison out at Edison. Dudes that just flat out ain't going to get offers from Oklahoma because there's so much depth there. And because now you got your two running backs in this cycle. You know what it's going to be.